Okay, so we're going to try this again. I took the old fuel pump back, or the new old fuel pump back, whatever you want to call it, back to the parts store. They gave me a complete refund. I went to a different parts store and got this Precision. This is the part number. This one comes with the lifetime warranty. The one I had gotten before was a 1-year warranty, and after replacing it twice within a month and a half, they said I bought the first one on May 29th of this year, which is 2024. I replaced it 7 days later, and now here it is, the end of July, and I'm already replacing the other one. And then I looked at the reviews on that other pump on many different websites that sold the exact same pump, and they all said the same thing. They were all having issues. They were failing within 25 to 50 miles. I probably would have had this one fail sooner if I had been driving it, but since I wasn't driving this one, this just failed because. So we're going to go ahead and get this new pump in and hope that we don't have a problem. This weep hole is not plugged like the one that we just had. So hopefully, the other one I believe was a Delphi. I think I had the part number in one of the other videos, so I would avoid that one and go with this one if possible. Of course, it is made in China. The Carter one that everybody suggested you get is out of stock everywhere with no ETA dates. So couldn't get a Carter. If this one fails, this will be the last mechanical one we put in this Jeep, and we will switch over to a small electric pump. We'll do a block off plate, batteries here, we can hook to an ignition source right down there, and we'll move this to an electric pump and just call that a day, because this is getting to be ridiculous. All right, let me get this in here. Okay, so new fuel pump is in, bolts are tight, hose is tight, this one's tight. So next thing we're going to do is go ahead and start it up and see how this goes. Hopefully no more leaks, but all right, so let's give this a little try and see what happens. All right, so I gave it about 3 or 4 pumps, set the choke. Let's see. Okay, fired right up. Sounds good. Oh, come on, keep running. Oh, I guess we sucked all the fuel out of the bowl. So, but we don't have a leak here yet. So hopefully it'll start back up. Kind of hoping we'd get it on the first try. Oops. I'm smelling fuel. Yeah, let's see what we got out here. Make sure we're not pissing fuel everywhere. No, it looks dry. All right. So maybe it's just up here where we're getting it. So let me see. Choke is set. So we just need to get some fuel up. There she goes. Now fuel's coming up. Of course, we knocked that pipe off. All right, let me crawl under there, put that pipe back on. We're definitely going to have to fix that, weld it in place or something. And I think we do now have enough fuel up here. We just got to get everything set. All right, so it ran good for a few seconds. Then it apparently ran out of fuel in the bowl. I've checked, and we do have fuel to the pump. When I loosen the threaded line there, we have fuel coming up. But it is acting like it's either flooded or we're not getting enough fuel to the up to the carburetor. I can get it to run if I put my foot down on the accelerator pedal, but it runs like it's missing on half the cylinders, so it could be partially flooded. Not really sure. I mean, it was running fine for a few seconds, and then once it ran out of fuel, it's just died. So it's kind of weird what it's doing. So I'm going to check the 2 fuel lines here at the fuel filter, see what we got on return into the carburetor, and if that's all working, then I'm going to let it sit for about an hour and dry out. The motor's has heated up a little bit from me trying to start it, so hopefully that will dry out any extra fuel that's inside there. And because even when I sprayed starting fluid in there, it was like, no, it didn't even want to fire. So that would the only other thing it could be would be we have a problem with the distributor, because I don't know, because we did get some fuel up on the distributor, but I mean, it looks dry now. This plug looks dry. I don't see any. Yep, no. So yeah, we'll check these 2 lines, and then we'll let it sit for a little while and then come back to it. All right, so I did order new plugs or plug wires and new cap and rotor. I'm gonna pop this one off before I try to restart it here, just so I can see what's going on in the inside. So yeah, I don't know, but the plugs look like they've been changed. They're all new, so I do want to just check these wires and stuff. It's been about an hour or so. Hopefully it starts. We'll see. But yeah, it's really acting just really stupid. Hopefully it doesn't need a distributor or something. I really doubt it does, because it runs great. And it's weird, this is the second time it's done this, because the first time the carburetor, on the old carburetor, when the pump went bad, it started acting like this. We replaced the carburetor, it was fine. So, I mean, this carburetor is brand new. So, we will see. Well, it's hard to tell. I cleaned it up a little bit, scraped some of the crap off of some of the electrodes. The rotor itself was really kind of covered in something, so I cleaned the edges up. I wiped the top down so that I had a better contact. So, like I said, I ordered a new one. I just want to see if this makes any difference. There was a lot of oil buildup in there as well, so I'm not sure. Everything else looks dry, so we'll give this a shot, see if that helps at all. Hopefully it does, and that was the problem. If it doesn't, well, I ordered a new one, and at least then I can cross that off the list, because I didn't do a tune-up on this because I assumed that the previous owner did. But these wires don't look exactly new, so who knows. Okay, so let me get the cap back on and we'll see what we got. Okay, so I opened up the throttle plate, stuck the screwdriver down inside there so that everything's open. You can see that it's smoking a bit. So now what happens is when I crank the key, it takes a few seconds for it to fire, but then it fires and then it revs real high, so I shut it off. But without the screwdriver in there, it won't run at all. It just tractors and stalls out immediately. So I'm thinking we've got some wet plugs. So I'm gonna go ahead and change out the wires and cap when they come in tomorrow. I will probably pull the spark plugs as well at that time and just check them and re-gap them, because that could be part of the problem. But I think when I changed the pump that maybe we just flooded it. So we will leave this to air out. We have an appointment here in a couple hours that we have to go to, so when I get back, hopefully that will be all sorted out and it will be running better. But yeah, it's kind of weird because it's been running great since we put the new carb in. Then the fuel pump went out and we had problems. But when we did spray fuel all over the cap and rotor, so maybe when that happened it didn't like it. But everything's dry, so I don't see any connection issues. But again, I don't know how old these wires are. They might be new, they might not be new. I wish there was a date on them. It's hard to tell. So, but it's probably going to be easier just to go ahead and replace them and see. And like I said, I'll probably pull the plugs, at least as many as I can, because regretfully, this plug here is behind this bracket and crap. There is a way to get it out without having to take this bracket off, but I gotta find the right tool to do that. There's a special spark plug wrench that's actually got I believe it's a 5/8 end on it, and you can just unscrew it using a opened end box end wrench to do that. So we'll have to see if we can get it out, but I can check all the rest of them. If they're all good, then we'll assume that one's good too. But yeah, so that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna let that rest for a little bit and see what happens this afternoon. Okay, so I just pulled out one of the spark plugs. Come on, focus. That thing is black and it reeks of fuel. That is, everything's coated. I mean, it's completely black. Now I pulled the ones out of the van the other day and that everything was nice and clean. So this has been loading up for a while. That's the number 2 spark plug from the front. So I'm going to get some cleaner and try to clean these plugs off a bit, and hopefully that will solve the problem. Alright, so I got me a little container of rubbing alcohol and seafoam. I've been soaking the plugs in it, and I don't know if you can see, but it is coming clean. The other thing I'm finding is that all of the plugs are under gapped. They're supposed to be at 35 and they're all set at 30, so I'm re-gapping them as I go. So again, who knows, the previous owner set this up. So I've already put the 2 back, the second and the third one in. This is the 4th one, and then I'm going to do the 5th and 6th, and then I'm going to work on getting the first one out. But we'll see how it runs after I get these 5 done. Okay, so I got the 3 middle ones in. I have the 2 back ones out and soaking. I was trying to get the front one out. I got the plug off, or the wire off the plug, and I was going to use my actual spark plug tool with the wrench here that fits over the end of it, but it's so deep down inside there that I can't get on to the end of it. So even with this little shorty extension, I have just enough room, but it's the wrong angle. So I'm gonna swing by the Grand Old Harbor Freight on the way home from our medical appointment and see about picking up a different tool head and see if that works. And that will prevent me from having to take this whole bracket and the belt and everything off. So we'll do that, but I'm gonna go ahead and put these last 2 plugs in, and crank her over and see how she runs. Because, man, these plugs were gapped at 30. It's supposed to be 35. There's a sticker up here on the hood of the Jeep that tells you that. So they're under gapped. The carburetor has been running really rich. I knew that. So we could have just fouled it out, and that's why it's running like it is. Like I said, I've got a screwdriver inside there opened up so air is flowing, so that any additional gas that's unburnt isn't sitting in there, so that should be good. And hopefully this fucking train will piss off and we'll be good. Alright, let me get these 2 plugs finished. I just gotta wipe them up, get all the crap off of them before I put them back in. Alright, so I got the 5 done. I didn't do the front one, but I went ahead and put all the plug wires back on. I just want to hear if it's going to try to start and run at all. So we'll give it a shot. Well, it's definitely running, so I'm going to say that's probably just foul plugs and whatnot. I don't know. Seems like it's still not wanting to run very good, even though we still got a leak here on this fuel pump. I'm gonna have to tighten that down. But yeah. So when I get back, I'll go ahead and do this other plug as well. I mean, it seemed to run a little better, not quite as good as it was earlier, but so could just need new plugs, completely new plugs. So who knows? All right, I'll be back in a little while and we'll fuck around with it some more. Brand new fuel pump, already pissing out the side. What the hell? Okay, well, I got it to sort of be idling. It is missing out the exhaust leak, but so now it needs another fucking fuel pump. All right, well, this is fucking turning into what is up with these fuel pumps? I mean, it's not like yeah, that's just great. So fuel pump issue. Guess we're gonna just go ahead and break down and buy an electric fuel pump and call it a day, because this is getting stupid. Okay, well, I'm done working on this today. Put all this stuff away and start over again tomorrow. Okay, so there is the brand new pump that I just put in. Yeah, so who knows? Part number matches, like I said. So what we're going to do, well, what I went ahead and did is I ordered up a brand new block off plate. From my understanding, that should be the same as a Ford or whatever, like a 289 5.0. Got a small electric pump that is supposed to be between 3 and 5 psi. I did talk to my neighbor, and he suggested that when I get into this tomorrow, blowing air through this line here, the return line, to make sure we aren't back pressuring somewhere. Maybe it's pinched off. So I don't know. Trying to see. I think that's it right there. And it's not very tight. So that's the line that's coming down from there to here to here. So that is, I don't know. I may just run all new fuel line from there all the way to the return line, and from the draw side I'm going to run a whole new line so I don't have all of that. Maybe that will solve it, maybe it won't. Be better if I could put the pump on this side, but I think it would be in the way. I do like it being on this other side, because then I can mount it to this fender where I got all this space. But the weird thing is I've got this line right now. I've got it stuck in this thing, but this thing's not bolted to anything down there. So I'm gonna have to address the fuel line as well and get it up so that it's not just hanging on the axle. And so I ordered cap, rotor, plug wires, and tomorrow when I take the pump back, I'm going to exchange it for brand new spark plugs, because I figure I might as well, since those are completely black. They look new, but they're just black. And I guess I'll have to try to screw that carburetor in. Maybe it was fouled from the other one, and I probably should pick up a new air filter. I can't really tell if that's just gray because it's dirty, or if it's gray made in Mexico. Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't smell like fuel, so it doesn't look like it's been getting a lot of fuel. All right, dog. So tomorrow's the day we're gonna start swapping this into an electric. Don't know where I'm gonna get my power from. I do want it keyed, so I may run it to the main junction box there and hook onto that somewhere, or I may run it to an ignition source under the dash. I did notice that I broke this vacuum tee right here. There's a hose. I don't know where. Oh, there it is. There's a hose right there that was supposed to be plugged up into that. Don't know how it got broke, but I'm sure that's not, that little vacuum isn't going to be much. All right. Well, thanks for watching. I guess we'll be working on this for the next day or two. Hopefully I can get it running good again so that I can get it sold.